Now, before I got this little Deity pocket recorder, I didn't even know how much I needed it. In this video, I'm going to explain why you might need it and why you might not need it. I'm also going to explain why this little recorder is worth the money even if you never record anything on it. Yeah, stick around. So last month at NAB, I stopped by the Deity booth and I asked them if they had a product that they would like me to review. And they gave me this little Deity PR-2. And I got excited because I knew that Deity made pretty exciting things, but I didn't know how cool this little unit was until I've been playing with it for the last month. But in full disclosure, you should know that Deity did give this to me for free, but no other money exchanged hands, and I get to say whatever I want. And as always, I always do say whatever I want. Now this Deity recorder doesn't transfer to your camera, it just records internally on here. But it does record in 32-bit float. If you don't know what that means, well, it's just a fancy way of saying that there's a lot of headroom. So if you record it too loud, well, it's not going to clip inside of this unit. You can still clip at the microphone level, but you're not going to clip in the unit. That's great because it's just a set it and forget it sort of thing. But you know what? All kinds of companies now are coming out with 32-bit float, and it's kind of a standard, so everything seems to have it. In fact, my little DJI Mic 2 system, well, yeah, that's 32-bit float. Oh, and the DJI Mic 2, well, it will also take a lav mic into it. So yeah, records in 32-bit float as well as transmits to your camera. But there are some advantages to the Deity unit. First of all, it has a screen, which makes it a lot easier to set up and to see what's actually going on. Over here, you have to memorize what the little blinking lights are and how they work. It's not that difficult, but you know what? If I'm just going to record audio and not transmit it to the camera, this is the thing that I'm going to want to have in my pocket. But even though this is a little easier to operate, well, if you've already got one of these, why would you want to buy this Deity unit? Well, this unit has two superpowers that this doesn't have. And the first superpower is right here. It's this fantastic little lav mic. This little microphone by itself costs $120. It's a highly professional little mic. Now it looks really big, but that's just the windscreen. It's actually a very small, tiny little microphone. And guess what? It's water resistant. It has an IP rating of 57. It also has a locking end here that goes right into the Deity unit and locks in just like that. Yeah, pretty nice. Now, a product that I've really come to appreciate are these little lav concealers made by a company called Bubblebee. Yeah, I'll put a link in the descriptions. I don't get any money for this, but I think it's a great tip to know that these exist. They're not super expensive, but they're a little bit expensive because you've got to ship them. This one is actually made for the Deity W.Lav Pro. Now it comes with a few clips, so you have some options here, but I usually put it on this way and then clip it to the inside of my undershirt. And there's even little holes here if you want to sew this on to your clothing. Yeah, they've thought of everything. So clip right on here to my undershirt and we're ready to go. So now you're hearing the W.Lav 3 through the recorder, and this is how it sounds. Now, it's going to sound differently than my $1,400 microphone over here from Sennheiser, but for $110 in a little recorder, this sounds really good. So let's compare this to the mic that I used to use, the Shure MVL. Now, the Shure microphone isn't as loud right out of the gate, but that's okay. We can adjust that in post. But for my mic, this sounds a lot better. So I'm going to be using this microphone here on out, whether I use it in this unit or whether I use it in this unit. Oh, but while we're here, we might as well try out another couple lav mics that I have. This is the DJI microphone. It's much, much bigger. It also has this windscreen on it. You can put on there like that. And this is designed to clip on your shirt. Now, I'm sure you could find a way to actually put this under your clothing, but it's a pretty big microphone and a lot harder to conceal. Now, here's a lav mic from the Sennheiser unit that I used to use years ago. All right, so now we're recording with the Sennheiser microphone, and you can compare that with the other microphones. So the DJI microphone sounds like this. The Shure microphone sounds like this under my shirt, and the Deity sounds like this. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, the Deity lacks a lot of top end, but it's actually recording that top end. You just need to crank it up a bit if that's what you think is missing. To me, this microphone gives me a great flat response and allows me to adjust it in post a lot of different ways to get a lot of different sounds out of this microphone. To my ears, the Shure microphone is a little crunchy, and it's hard to get that crunchiness out once it's baked in. So whether you prefer the Sennheiser, the Shure microphone, or the DJI mic, well, that's going to be a personal preference. But to my ears, I prefer this little Deity mic to all others that I have tried in this price range. And admittedly, I haven't tried them all, but it's a really nice microphone. Oh, and if you're wondering whether this microphone works in the DJI Mic 2, well, you can hear that it does. So yeah, this is the mic I'm going to be using going forward. And now for the great superpower of this unit. This is actually a timecode generator. Deity has made a name for itself in timecode generation that is super high quality, keeps great time, and is very affordable. At the heart of their system are these tiny little TC-1 timecode generators. These little units will sync up together and keep great time, and each unit can be hooked up to the camera and make sure that each camera is synced up as well. Now the TC-1 costs $199, but for $30 more you can get the PR-2 that has a TC-1 built in, plus you get that $120 Deity mic. So it's a great deal. Now you can get by shooting a lot of different cameras and then syncing them up in post by just using the waveforms. I do it all the time. My overhead camera, I don't have that synced to timecode. I just match it up as best I can and then I drop out one of the channels. But if you're going to be mixing the audio, well, that's really where you're going to want timecode because you need perfect sync in order to mix. Otherwise, you get weird phase units. In other words, if you're going to use a little of this microphone and a little of this microphone, they've got to match perfectly. And that's where timecode comes in. But if you're like me and you don't want to spend $200 for every camera and then have it kind of hanging or dangling off of your camera just to keep everything in sync, well, you can use this little trick. It's called jam syncing. This is my Sony a7S III, and now with some firmware updates, it finally supports timecode. So you go to the shooting mode, here to timecode, and then you go over to this little thing here, timecode run, and you hit it to run free. Now both of these units keep track of time, but they keep track of time based on the frame rate that it's shooting at. In this case, it's 23.98. Now in your Sony camera, it'll say, oh, set it to 24 frames a second. It's actually 23.98. Then you're going to need a little cable like this one. I found this one on Amazon for pretty cheap. I'll leave a link in the descriptions. And it basically has a tip ring sleeve here, as well as the micro USB. I also need to make sure that the output here is sent to LTC-V3. I guess that's version 3 of something. Now all I got to do is plug it into the output and it jam syncs this timecode into this. And we can see that right here because it says external link. And we put them next to each other, yeah, they match up perfectly. Now if I keep this hanging onto the camera, we'll continue to sync up to this. But if I take it out, well, it continues with this timecode, but now the clock is inside the a7S III. But then we can take another camera like this DJI Pocket 3, and you know, we can do the same thing here. We're going to need a different cord though, and Deity gave me this little cord, which is the same tip ring sleeve to USB-C. All right, then I go to the system and I scroll down to timecode, and once I get the timecode, I get in there. It tells me that to hook it up to the USB-C port, which I'm now going to do. Yeah, and now I've successfully jammed the timecode into this Pocket 3. Now we can see that even after we pull out this little timecode generator, well, we have the same timecode in both of these units. Now don't be fooled, jam syncing is going to drift over time because there's a clock inside the a7S III, and depending upon how good it is versus how good it is in the Pocket 3, well, they might drift apart from each other over time. Well, you might be saying to yourself, what good is timecode if it's going to drift over time? Well, it's not going to drift really fast, so if you shoot and jam sync every couple hours, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Now these are the only two cameras that I own that will take that jam sync, but you can also use it on a camera that doesn't take jam sync. So if you really have to, well, you can use a unit like this, take the output of this and put this in the input of the audio into your camera. So using their free software, you can load up the files and then get timecode transferred from the audio into the metadata of your clip. Personally, I'm never going to do that. That's too much work. Plus, it kills off the audio signal in your camera. And to me, I don't want to lose the audio just so that I can get timecode. But you may find yourself in a professional shoot where you need to have that timecode, and, well, guess what? You've got it in this little unit. Now, there's a couple other things you might want to know about this unit. It doesn't have to record in 32-bit float. It can record 24-bit stereo. They actually make a microphone that splits off into stereo so you can make those recordings. They didn't give that to me. Oh, and it comes with a 32 gigabyte card, so you don't have to worry about matching the right card to your unit. it comes with one that works great and will record over 24 hours on a single card. Oh, this can also work as an audio interface into your computer. You simply plug in USB to your computer, and then you've got a high-quality input into your computer. Much better than the input that you have in your computer right now. Now, it comes with 2 lithium batteries. These are not rechargeable, but you can use rechargeables in here if you'd like. Oh, and it'll also run off the USB-C port. So if you want to hook it up to another battery pack or something, well, you can do that as well. If I had any complaints about this little unit, well, it would probably be this drawer here that you have to open for the batteries. It's a little hard to open, but maybe that'll wear in time. It is plastic, though. Remember that. Now, you can't monitor and record at the same time, at least on the US version of this unit, because there's some patent difficulties that will probably eventually disappear, and hopefully you'll be able to use that little feature in a firmware upgrade. But I wouldn't hold my breath for that. Oh, and there's also a little flimsy belt clip that it comes with that I probably lost already. I probably put it in the box. Oh, it does come with this nice box, though, huh? How's that for presentation? And stickers. Well, I mean, it'll work. Better than not having a belt clip, probably. I do wish they had spent just a little bit more money and put this in a case rather than this super nice box that I'm never going to use. So I'm so glad that Deity sent this to me so that I could discover all the cool things that it can do. And definitely, if I'm just going to put a pack on to record without setting it to my camera, this is what I'm going to put on. And when I shoot an event with multiple cameras, I'm definitely going to jam sync as many cameras as I can with this unit. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is this microphone. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you hit the like button? It's the easiest way to get this video out to as many people that might be interested in this. Oh, and YouTube thinks that you'd be interested in that little video right over there. So give it a shot. Hey, thanks for stopping by.